like, you know, you're supposed to be at McDonald's making orders, you know what I'm saying? And then you just start handing out Burger King stuff. Like, it just blows my mind. Okay, it's like, I know I got a McDonald's shirt, but we doing Burger King, we doing Carl's Jr., we doing Hardee's, whatever we want, let's get it. I'm giving out Subway to the drive.
And I'm in here.
So hey everybody, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up, and turn on that notification bell.
Yo, it's Mo, and I'm in here. If you guys don't know me, I want to say hi. My name is Mo. I am the creator of Solidarity&Co, the creator and host of the Mix of Black Girl Magic podcast, and I am also responsible for the Yo It's Mo Though YouTube channel. With all those components combined, I talk about Black issues. I really specialize in discussing Black lesbian issues since I experienced those myself, and I create designs with solidarity in mind. All of those things go together into this mix of what makes me the epitome of Black Girl Magic. And so I came to share with you guys a little bit about what I have going on social media and how I engage in activist conversations, where we should be focused right now and where we're needed, where our attention should be. But if you're someone who is just getting started, don't feel alone. I started in May, really being active on social media and creating things and engaging in conversation that was centered around the Black Lives Matter movement and the social activism that is needed today. So, I'm originally from North Carolina as a Carolina girl. I've also grown up in the South and have experienced racism, and really that is a bit of the fundamental of what, you know, where I talk about all those issues, because I've experienced them. Outside of that though, I am a rapper, I'm a writer, I got a lot of personality, and I just like to say I'm a lot of woman in a small package. If that fits and y'all can attest to that, then you're in a cool place, a safe space where everybody is appreciated, everyone's feedback and opinions are valid and valuable, and I just hope you guys tune in, and I thank everybody who has supported me this far. So let's get into the video, which you guys are getting to see live. So A is for activism. We're going to talk in terms of the alphabet. I want to make this as simple and as easy for you to follow along and be able to engage in these conversations that are going on around social media and literally happening in real life. So I want to call your attention to certain places, and we're going to attach an alert and talk about those places based on following the alphabet. So yeah, we got an A through Z. I'm going to try to run through it quickly so that I don't keep you guys here too long. But of course there's a lot to cover and a lot to talk about. A. So A is for activism. Activism is basically standing up for your principles and standing up for things that you believe in. The key word in activism is act. So it's about taking action to drive change, to further the movement or the cause that you support. A is also for abolish the police, and you will see hashtag abolish the police on Instagram or any social media site right now, because people are calling for us to abolish the police, which pretty much means get rid of the police, abolish prisons, you may find, which is pretty much saying get rid of the prison system altogether. And we need to rethink and reimagine how we handle criminals, how we handle justice in our country and in our society. It's important, and so there are movements centered around that. There are valuable people that you can follow that will give you the information that you need. Hi, King Florenzo. And of course, with all this information, you know, I hope you guys take it to social media and find out where to engage. I'm gonna create a hashtag post for you guys so that it's easily to reference after posting this video. But We got A. B is for Black is King. So if you have not seen Black is King right now, what are you doing? You got to go see Black is King, which is made by Beyonce, which is another B. A B is also for Beyonce, the Queen Bee, who has the Be Good Foundation and has provided grants to Black businesses. She created the Black Parade, which is another B. B is for Black Parade, which is a dope song that really glorifies the female in this time and in this society. We really need those images, that representation. But outside of that, Beyonce is also taking action. So A is for activism, B is for Beyonce, Be Good, Black is King, and Black Parade. All of those things, I would say check them out and tag me, and I'll, second your motion. C is for change. People who are on social media right now calling for change in the systems of America. We're calling for change in our justice system. We're calling for change in the way that America functions as a whole. And we want real change instead of what has been tolerated over the last couple of decades, since the Civil Rights Movement. We've tolerated racism, and I think racists have tolerated Black people, and at this point we're coming to a stance where you have to either be fully anti-racist or you have to go, period. You're canceled, we're not supporting you, you're boycotted, and I think that's the way to changing America as a whole. D is for defund the police, and the defund the police movement is really valid. It's just saying that people who support the defund the police movement don't want to abolish police. So I don't want you to get that confused. Abolish the police is a different movement. Abolishing prisons is a different movement. But defunding the police is basically saying we're taking the money that these states are allocating to these police organizations that could be used to improve the communities in which those police serve and lower the crime rates altogether by improving the funding for social or community organizations that really enhance the quality of life for people in their communities. So instead of, giving $10 million to the police department, for example, we'll give the police department $1 million and we'll disperse the other $9 million through community organizations that help to deter crime or help to deter even the need for police. And I think that's a great movement. Either way, whether you're for abolishing the police department, abolishing prisons, or if you're for defunding the police departments, deprivatizing the prisons, all of these are great movements. And either way, they call about real change. And I think, that's what is necessary for 2020 to set the standard for the next decade. And, that's what we're working towards. That's really what all of this social media activism is about. And in this age, there's a lot of slacktivists. We realize that, which is pretty much people who want to be able to engage in these conversations easily or simply without having to alter their daily life like people have things to do, which I understand. So I'm here for the slacktivists, but I'm also here for people who want to genuinely engage and figure out what to do or create entire platforms around these movements and ideas. So next, we're going to move to E, which is for end systemic racism. And this is basically movements and people calling to end racism within the systems that govern or so we are calling to end systemic racism and pretty much end racism in the systems that are supposed to function and govern America. Really, the fundamentals of America are, liberty, justice, peace for all. It's not something that is for the select few or for the wealthy. And that's what we're asking for. It's really for people and organizations and that help to function this country. Federal and state departments, things like that, are allowing equality and ensuring equality within their systems. Which I see nothing wrong with that. So we're calling it end systemic racism. So if you've ever applied for anything, or if you've ever went to the government for anything, you know, a lot of times the expectation is that, yeah, you'll be regarded just as other people will be regarded because you're going to the federal government or you're going to your state government. But the truth of the matter is there are already policies and procedures in place to disenfranchise minorities or to keep you know, African American people from obtaining the assistance from the government. So we want to end that. E is for end systemic racism. We want to end oppression. We want to end discrimination. We're calling to end a lot of things, but I think most importantly is to end systemic racism in this category, just because it is the systems that function this government, and they should be fair for everybody, regardless of nationality, religion, race, etc. Next is F is for fund communities, and funding communities is important. So we talked about defunding the police, and we want to take those funds that we are defunding from the police and now fund community organizations and fund community initiatives that deter crime, that enhance the quality of living for people in that community, which I don't think is much to ask. I mean, if you've got $10 million available, instead of, you know, investing that all in one place, why not share the wealth and engage and really bolster some of the organizations around your city or state that are actually doing good and proven effective to deter crime or to improve the quality of life for people. It's kind of a no-brainer to fund communities. F is for fuck the police. Don't tell them I said that, but some people gonna say F is for F12. F is for fuck the police, and you'll see that on a lot of Black Lives Matter signs or at peaceful protests, things of that matter. But it's just the attitude that, you know, the trust for police in this time is really non-existent. Like, you can't trust them, and so that's resulted in a lot of people saying, you know, hashtag ACAB, which is all cops are bastards, hashtag fuck 12 or F12, which are basically really opposing the police and how they function in our society. If you agree with that, follow those movements. Each of these things that I'm talking about is a hashtag. So I'm sure if you go hit that hashtag, you'll find people, you'll find organizations who are really leading those pieces of the movement. But as a whole, you know, we are all fighting for similar objectives, and we're focusing where we feel like we can be most helpful. So I want you to do that as well. We'll move on to G. And G is for good human. Like, it just really baffles me that it's so hard for police to be good human beings. And you would think that that would be synonymous. It's so hard to think that it's, or it's difficult to think that it's, I'm sorry, but it is frustrating to think that it's so hard for government officials to be good humans, simply, you know, and at the basis of a lot of these things are what leads to H, are human rights. When you think about humans, how they should be treated, what they should be entitled to, a lot of these things that the Black Lives Matter organization, okay, a lot of things that the Black Lives Matter organizations or people calling for social change and justice are asking for are basic human rights. And I don't think that that's something that we should have to beg for. You know, you expect these people to be good humans that people are electing or voting into office. You expect these people to be good humans that are taking oaths to serve their communities and the people of those communities. And you expect to be awarded and your human rights to be respected, your civil rights to be respected by especially those people. Like, if it was a random stranger doing this, you know, But you are someone who is expected to really care about those things, you know? And then you just don't. You just don't. Oh, that baffles me. So at the basis, it just baffles me that it's so hard for these people who say these mean oaths to be good humans. And then it's so hard that people who are sworn to protect your rights just disregard all that. It's just like, you know, you're supposed to be at McDonald's making orders, you know what I'm saying? And then you just start handing out Burger King stuff. Like, it just blows my mind. Okay, it's like, I know I got on a McDonald's shirt, but we doing Burger King, we doing Carl's Jr., we doing Hardee's, whatever we want, let's get it. I'm giving out Subway to the drive-thru. Like, just start going off, okay? Okay. I is for inclusion, and so I want people to figure out how they can be more inclusive in what they're doing through any form, whether you are, you know, including disability rights in your discussions now, whether you are highlighting and talking about women where you haven't talked about women before, whether you are, you know, implementing some captions in your videos, whether you are learning sign language so that you can communicate with deaf people in your community. Things of that nature are relevant for inclusion, and that's what a lot of organizations who deal with disabilities or who deal with trans people are calling for. We're calling for inclusion, and basically it's not to say that, you know, we're begging you for a seat at the table. If you don't want to provide that seat at the table, we're going to go to places that do, and that's where we're getting that movement of inclusion and diversity. And it's not enough to just diversify. It is important that you include those people, because of course what's been going on, what's been tolerated, is just having a black person there as a token black person and having an Asian there as a token Asian person, but then they're not included in what's going on in the discussions that are going around. So we want to include people, and my company, Solidarity&Co, seeks to include. If there's anything that we could do, let us know to be more inclusive. So J is for justice, okay? We want justice for Breonna Taylor. We want justice for Elijah McClain. We want justice for Rayshard Brooks, Ahmaud Arbery. We want you to say their names, and we want justice, just justice in America, because, like, what are y'all doing? No justice, no peace is a common chant when you're at these marches. If we don't get no justice, y'all ain't gonna get no peace. That's where we're going from. If they want things to go back to normal, then they have to provide justice for the injustices that we've experienced. And justice is, again, at the fundamental, the fiber of this nation. It's like one of those things that should be a no-brainer. You should expect that, but it's become so diluted in the last couple of years that we have to now fight for it, and that's what a lot of these organizations are doing. So that's a good way to get into or get involved, is just to look up the people that we are calling for justice for, the stories behind that, where you think it should be a no-brainer, and literally how long and how corrupt the justice system has become to avoid bringing police to justice, avoid giving justice to the families of the victims of racial discrimination or racially motivated attacks, things like that. So justice is important, but we also are rocking with Joe Biden. J is for Joe, so we're going to give Joe a nice little J. Insert here, because if you don't know Joe Biden, or if you've heard about Joe Biden, then you know that there is much that we can talk about in this guy's career as to how he has been an effective leader. He was clearly the vice president when Barack Obama was president, and he was always an ally in the government for democratic purposes and democratic initiatives. However, we're not saying that he's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we're saying that Joe Biden is the best option for a president. At least we know that Joe Biden will listen. We know that Joe Biden will attempt to provide these things that we are asking for. And that is what we're looking for, is some a leader who will at least listen, and someone who will at least try to provide like assistance. So we're going to go for J, justice for Joe Biden. And we also want to talk about K, which is for Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris has now been inducted as Joe Biden's running mate for 2020. She will be, if Joe Biden is elected, the first African American and Indian American vice president of the United States. Now, to say the least, Kamala Harris also has a lesbian chief of staff, which makes her chief of staff, if she and Joe are elected, the first lesbian to serve as the chief of staff in the White House, the first black lesbian. Excuse me. And as I told y'all in the beginning of this video, I have an affliction for black lesbian women doing dope things. So that brings me to L. And L is for lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. This song you will probably hear played at most marches. You will hear being reiterated when there is a call at, regarding Martin Luther King, the Martin Luther King Jr. Monument, when we're calling for these big marches. This song is known as the Negro National Anthem. And right now, we are in a point where that song is resounding, but everyone wants to make it at the forefront, right? Instead of the Star Spangled Banner, now they want to play the Negro National Anthem, which is cool. We're here for it. However, not a lot of people know the full lyrics, so I advise you to learn those lyrics, especially if you intend to be a part or attending any rallies or social justice related events. It's going to be relevant. They even were talking about playing it at the NFL before the games and things like that. So it's important that you know the lyrics and you sing them proudly. Of course, if you are black, it is important that you sing those lyrics proudly, because it is a song known as our national anthem that talks about our position in this country and how we feel in regards to the Star Spangled Banner, which is known as the national anthem. So, M is for the March on Washington 2020. Now, if you guys did not watch the March on Washington, which was live streamed on like all social media platforms, then I've retweeted it on my Twitter account so that you guys can tune in. There were some really powerful speeches, especially coming from Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece. And this March on Washington this year happened August 28th, which was at the anniversary of the Civil Rights March of 1963, where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. And what I found really interesting was Bernice King, who is Dr. King's daughter. So Dr. Bernice King also decided to talk about where the women were on Washington. This video is also available on her YouTube, which you could probably find connected to her Instagram. So these people and speeches were given at the March on Washington 2020. You'll find that hashtag on any social medias and the related content that I'm talking about. But it is important that you guys who were not able to attend tune in to the things that we're talking about, so that you can kind of get a good basis as to the relevant topics and what's going on right now in this movement. March on Washington 2020 is the M. And N. N is for necessary trouble. So we want to talk about necessary trouble, and this is a quote coming from Representative John Lewis, who passed away this year. Representative John Lewis was someone who walked across a bridge, the John Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, with Dr. King, where they were met with police brutality. Not surprising, but of course this is back in the 1960s, and this guy again made it to Congress and continued to fight for voting rights. And so right now this is really relevant because it hopefully will push a lot of African Americans to go out and vote, because this man continued to fight from the 1960s to today, or to you know, this year, prior to his death, that he continued to fight for voting rights. And so it's important that we all go vote. But John Lewis is known for giving a great speech on getting into good trouble, necessary trouble. And so this is where his notoriety came from, how he ended up making it from being a constituent of Dr. Martin Luther King to literally being a constituent of Barack Obama. And this is why we amplify John Lewis, because of his continued work, his continued efforts to improve in this society. And you know, if you're going to do anything, the N is for necessary trouble. So if you get into trouble, make sure it's good trouble, necessary trouble. And we'll move on. The O is for Occupy Kentucky. And the Occupy Kentucky movement is really being, I guess, front line or headed by Until Freedom. And this is important because we are now at a state where people are moving, literally moving to Louisville, Kentucky to demand justice for Breonna Taylor and to continue to fight the oppression in that area. We want justice from the Attorney General there, Daniel Cameron, who has been super hesitant. It's taken over 100+ days to arrest the cops who killed her or find anyone guilty of any criminal offense, which is ridiculous. So people are occupying Kentucky, and we want eyes on Kentucky, on what's happening there, because this movement really resurged around the deaths of Breonna Taylor and around the deaths of George Floyd, which were completely unjust and uncalled for and unnecessary. I got a lot of synonyms for that. But O is for Occupy Kentucky. And you want to keep your eyes on what's going on in Kentucky, because people are occupying it. Oprah, which O is for Oprah. Oprah actually bought several billboards there calling for justice for Breonna Taylor in an attempt to support the effort. And I mean, you know, that's why people are there, and that's why I would suggest you guys following or checking out the hashtag Occupy Kentucky hashtag. P is for peaceful protest. So there are a lot of protests going on all over the world, not just the country. The entire world literally has been protesting racism. I said that with so much seriousness because it is super serious. So, peaceful protests have been happening all over the world, where these protesters are being met with violence. So people who protest police violence are being met with police violence, no matter how peaceful they are. And there are several videos which can be traumatic, or, you know, give a trigger warning, that are showing people literally sitting down and being pushed over and, you know, pretty much pummeled and beat up by the police. So, peaceful protests that are happening need our attention. We need to be watching what's going on. We need to tune in to people who are live streaming protests happening and be there to share what's going on. When you see injustice, say injustice. Look for places where you can attend peaceful protests. Remain peaceful is really what we're asking, because we want to show that it is our right to protest, and that if done so peacefully, we should be allowed to do so without being met with violence. I mean, This goes back to basic human rights. This goes back to justice. This goes to civil rights. It is just fundamentals of America and things that people have fought for, so that we could protest if we want. And as long as we're peaceful. And so we are peacefully disturbing the peace. That's another way that you could find that P for peaceful protest. And again, if you guys are looking for protesting tips, are available online as well. And we ask that you follow those tips to try to keep everyone as safe as possible. And if, treated unfairly or harmed at a protest where things are peaceful, there are organizations there to help post bail. There are organizations there to help protect you, and there's groups, and different things that people suggest when you are peacefully protesting. So we say go for it, but we also say that be careful, because these peaceful protests are literally being met with police violence. Q is for queer rights. Queer rights are human rights. This is for the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ plus LGBTQIA. Either way, queer rights are human rights, period. And we want you to be mindful if you are lesbian, gay, transgender, queer, intersex, any of those things, asexual, pansexual, polygamous, polyamorous, whatever. Do your thing. Have sex how you want to have sex. That shouldn't be policed. It shouldn't be a government topic. But the fact of the matter is, they like to get in where they don't really fit in. So you want to keep your eyes on queer rights states who are coming for queer rights, like Florida, federal initiatives to try to end queer rights. And pretty much just saying, we're taking it a step above gay, and we're saying that all queer people who do not subscribe to being heterosexual, deserve the same rights as anybody else in this country. Just like we have a federal right to be married, the other laws should instill those federal rights. But we recently saw, during Pride Month, that there was a Supreme Court initiative to pretty much say that they could discriminate against us in our workplace. And now it's become a federal law that you are not allowed to discriminate against gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, or asexual people plus in any way, shape, or form in their work environments. And so we are still in 2020 seeing new initiatives, new laws, new policies being brought about so that we can continue to experience our rights as humans, even if we are queer. So keep your eyes on that. Queer rights are human rights, and you can put that new rainbow flag anywhere you want, honey. It's popping, easily identifiable. You can put the old school rainbow in your profile, your bio. People will see that and know, that you are someone who is considered an ally, or that you are someone who is queer. And of course, I'm going to pop this one back to the P, because queer rights are human rights, and we also want you to add your pronouns in your bio. So whether you are a him, her, she, he, him, his, hers, we want you to add that in your bio so that people begin to respect the pronouns of our other queer brothers and sisters, whether they are, a they, him, her, his. It is up to them what they require to be called. It is up to each individual person to determine their gender, and that should be respected by others. And so it is a initiative literally to put your pronouns in your bio or on your business cards, things of that nature, so that people begin to respect those pronouns as the norm. And right now, like I said, we're changing things. It's changing, and we want to change the norm. And what normal was isn't being tolerated anymore. Now we are determining what normal is, and right now it's just normal to have your pronouns in your bio, especially if you are in any way inclusive of queer rights as human rights. R is for rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote. And that's pretty much one of those organizations that gives you all the information that you need to vote. It tells you about registering to vote. It tells you about the people and how to get connected with people who are running in your city or in your state. And Rock the Vote is also attached to a lot of celebrities. So a lot of big name people support this organization because of the nonpartisan work they do to vote or towards voting. And I like Rock the Vote because it makes it easy. And I like Rock the Vote because they give a lot of information that would otherwise require you know, hours of research. So Rock the Vote is a great place to go to simplify your questions or research on registering yourself and others to vote, and also gives you information in order to make a good decision on who to vote for. S is for solidarity. So solidarity basically is a verb. It means the actions that you're taking to work together as a community to bring about this change. So I have started a company where I am the Chief Creative Design and CEO called Solidarity&Co. Solidarity&Co created this t-shirt. We create prints, mugs, you name it. You are able to print one of our designs and have it available for yourself to wear, to rock, to show your stance. It's a company meant for you. People like me who really care about solidarity, who really care about activism, who are really trying to be immersed in this Black Lives Matter movement and find their place. And if you guys understand those things, if you subscribe to any of these sentiments that I've discussed today, then this is where you should go to shop for your gear. Apparel, products to go around the home, stickers, you name it, we've got it. And if we don't have it, let us know and we'll try to get it for you. So what we do is we put solidarity in mind, and it's pretty much a brand that puts all of these things that we're talking about into product designs. And we are pretty much trying to solve this problem where people aren't able to see who you are or who you stand with. You know, a lot of us assume based on how a person looks or what kind of car they drive or where they live or where they work, what their stance is. And we don't want it to be an assumption. We want it to be very clear. So how do you display your stance? By shopping with Solidarity&Co, supporting our brand, liking our posts, anything that you could do to support us. We sincerely appreciate you and know that you are respected and that you matter to us and that we subscribe to those same fundamentals that other Black Lives Matter organizations are fighting for, and we'll continue to share information with you on how you too can get involved. T is for the right side of history, you know, because I am on the right side of history. If you understand and are fighting for any of these initiatives that we've discussed, you are also on the right side of history. And what this basically means is when they write the history books of what happened in 2020 and our children read this 15 years from now, they are going to talk about the abomination that Donald Trump was for this country. I'm sorry, I just got to get candid. And they're going to talk about these other people who subscribed to his corruption and who participated in letting COVID take over. And this is something that is just going to be historically trash. It's going to be trash. And we aren't going to let these history books say whatever they want to say. We're going to stand on the right side of history. We're going to make sure that it's relevant, that this information that is such trash is announced and re-announced. And we're going to do that by displaying our stance, by staying active on our social media, and continuing to engage in conversations and in ways that drive this movement forward. So we'll be on the right side of history. 15, 20 years from now, the designs that I'm creating will be timeless. You'll still be able to wear them. It'll still be relevant, and you'll still be showing people, like-minded people, engaging with people through the products that you use on display. So the right side of history is T. U is for Until Freedom. Need another march? Let me call Tamika. So Tamika Mallory is the founder of Until Freedom. She started out as being one of the co-founders of the Women's March that happened a few years ago, and she has since led to leading the Breonna Taylor Justice Movement. And so I always ask my supporters, my followers, to engage some way with Until Freedom, whether you're sending them cash apps, where you're tuning into their initiatives, supporting them any way that you can, until we get justice for Breonna Taylor, until we arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, until Breonna Taylor's mother says that she has finally received justice for the life of her daughter, who was an EMT. Like, this situation baffles me so much, and it hits home so closely, because we all are susceptible. If she is susceptible, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. It's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr., which is also available in our shop. And so we want you to attach to Until Freedom, at Until Freedom on Instagram, Facebook, any of your social medias. You'll find her. She also, the founder, Tamika Mallory, got a shout out from Beyonce in the Black Parade song. I referenced when we were talking about B, and now we are down to you. So it's almost over, guys, but I appreciate you tuning in this far. And make sure, if you are looking or new to this movement, you go check out Until Freedom, who is right now heading Occupy Kentucky, who has moved all their institutional organizations on the ground to where it happened and calling for justice for Breonna Taylor. Her and her friends and constituents have been arrested multiple times. They're still going at it, so we appreciate their persistence. And again, tune in, keep your eyes locked to see what Until Freedom is doing. Next, the V is for Vote Blue. Put your V's up. Hey, put your V's up. Okay, we want everybody to vote blue so we can end this nightmare. That's the hashtag on Twitter. Vote blue. No matter who, I've seen that hashtag. Hashtag just vote blue, because we can't take 4 more years of this Trump supremacy. We can't take 4 more years of literally divisive and racist rhetoric. We just can't take 4 more years of Trump. I mean, just thinking about it makes me so sad. It just drives me. So y'all, please vote blue. Because like, I was already devastated the first election when Trump got in. I was like, wait, Hillary, this makes sense. And it was like, no, Donald Trump. I'm like, oh, okay, cut the TV off, go to bed, because this is horrible. Now we got another chance to get this guy out of office forever, and hopefully in prison immediately following, due to all the open lawsuits he has against himself and his family. Vote blue is what we're asking you to do. Again, you can go to Rock the Vote or When We All Vote and figure out information on who to vote for, but continue to make sure that you're voting blue no matter who you vote for, and so that we can bring about more change. Again, these people aren't perfect. We're not saying that every Democrat is going to give us everything we ever wanted, but we can say that Democrats right now are more willing to listen to what the people want, the majority of the people want, and that is why and what democracy was founded upon. And so yeah, it just makes sense. So we want you to vote blue, which is meaning vote Democrat, because Democrats are more in favor of actual democracy, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. We also have a vote blue shirt. You come out, you see what I'm saying? There's mad ways that at Solidarity&Co gets involved in all these movements. And so there's ways that you can implement that into your activism as well. X is for X's and O's, because we just sending out hugs and kisses to everybody. We want to remind y'all about self-care. We want you to engage with people in loving ways, and just show people that you appreciate them, the people who are on the ground doing that work. If we're here on social media, that means we're not out there. Or, you know, vice versa. Sometimes you're out there and you're not able to be in the social media realm. So no matter where you are able to engage with these people and let them know that you appreciate their support. you are able to send out good vibes to people who may be a little bit tired or depressed because of everything that's going on, and just sending out love. So if you see us around social media, you'll see us send out this black heart, which is pretty much a symbol for black love, and it's just saying that, hey, we are sending you that love from the black community, showing you the appreciation, sincere appreciation for your work, what you're doing, for your posts, what you're sharing. And so you can pick whatever, color heart you like, or whatever emoji works best for you, and it makes it easy to just show, hugs and kisses to people. Throw in an XOXO, and people know that, you're showing love. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, and so anytime you see a post that I have that you like, you can always hit the XO. You can send a few hearts, whatever, just saying that, hey, we appreciate you, and we're showing you that love. Why is for your vote is your voice. Your vote. Your vote matters. If it didn't, they wouldn't be trying so hard to keep us from voting. If your vote didn't matter, then people wouldn't be so prone to trying to, as we've seen on social media sometimes, and again, that's another trigger warning, it may be traumatic, to watch how people try to close the polls or discourage us from mailing in our ballots. Trump even told some people to mail in their ballot twice, which is literally illegal to do. So, yeah, don't do that. But your vote matters. Your vote is your voice in this election. And all the work that we're doing on social media as a collective is hopefully pushing people to go and vote. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the number of votes, and we hope that more people come out to vote. The stakes are even higher than they were before, and we hope that all these collective organizations working together will help us to win the election and turn the Senate blue, turn the House blue, so that we can pass more of these initiatives that move America forward. I believe that if you vote and I vote, it'll be enough to get it done. So y'all go vote, because your vote is your voice. And Z is for Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston is one of my favorite black female writers. She has written a lot of books, and one of her books is really commonly known for becoming a movie called Their Eyes Was Watching God. Halle Berry starred in that movie, so it's definitely worth watching. And one of her most well-known quotes is this: if you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. And I wanted to end this on that note, because right now it is a time for people who ever experienced any pain, who ever experienced any oppression or injustice based on their race, based on their differences. It is time now to call attention to those things and to start to use your platform to discuss your pain, to call for change, and to encourage other people who are like-minded or who have experienced that to join in with you. So hopefully you can figure out how to engage, whether it's through a peaceful protest, a petition, a post on social media. You can use your voice and your vote to really make a change. And so I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me. Yo, it's Mo. I'm always around, and if you guys ever need anything, just let me know, especially if it's solidarity related. I'm your girl, and outside of that, I just want to also, come with you guys as sort of a Hail Mary here. So I need everybody who is watching this video, who has engaged with us in any way, to do one of two things. One, shop Solidarity&Co to display your things. Or two, donate to Until Freedom. If you could do either one of those things for me, it would mean a lot. I really appreciate you guys for watching this video and everything that you do. You are sincerely appreciated.